Hello guys, in this video we are going to discuss the solution of the problem maximum product subset of an array. So let us look at the problem statement. The problem statement says given an array ARR, the task is to find and return the maximum product possible with the subset of elements present in the array. Note, the maximum product can be a single element also. Since the product can be large, return it modulo 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So for instance, if this is the array which is given to us, the maximum product possible here will be -1 into -2 into 4 into 3, which is 24. And that is what we are returning over here. So that's about the problem statement, folks. Now let us discuss the solution of this problem. So in order to discuss the solution of this problem, let us take an example. So let us say this is the array which is given to us. What we are going to do is we are going to have two counters with us, which is num0, which counts the number of 0. The initial value is 0. And then we will have another counter which is num negative, and the initial value for this also is 0. Once we have these two values with us, we are going to iterate on the array and we are going to perform product equals to product into ARR I. And this is something which we are going to do for all I, where ARR I is not equals to 0. So we'll iterate on all the elements of the array and we are going to perform product operation. So let us do that. So product will be equals to -1 into -2 into 4 into 3, and in this way we'll get it as 24. And we will also go ahead and update these counters. So the number of 0 is 1, so this will be updated to 1, and the number of negative values is 2, so this will be updated to 2. Now once we have this information with us, what we are going to do is we are going to check for few cases. So the first case which we are going to check is if number of zeros is equals to len of ARR. That simply means all the element of the array ARR is 0, in which case the product which we will be able to obtain is 0, because of which we are going to return 0. The second case is if number of negative is not equals to 0. So that simply means number of negatives is odd. If the number of negatives are odd, then what we are going to do is this entire product will be divided by the largest negative number. So let us try to understand this with the help of an example. Let us say the array which is given to us is something like this. So this is the array which is given to us. So over here if we see number of negative is equals to 3, and the product which we will obtain is this product which is equals to -120. Now what we are going to do is from the negative pool, so from the negative numbers, so these are the negative numbers, we are going to compute the maximum or the largest negative number. So the largest negative number is -1, and then this product, what we are going to do is this product is something which we are going to divide it by this largest negative number. So product will be equals to product divided by largest negative number. And in this way, this product will become 120 divided by -1, which will be equals to 120, which is the largest product. And the way we will be able to obtain this largest product is by multiplying these numbers, 4 into 5 into -3 into -2. And that is the reason within case 2, we are going to check whether the number of negatives which we have is an odd number or not. Because if the number of negatives which we'll have is an odd number, then the product will be negative. And what we are going to do is we are going to divide that negative product with a negative number, which we have done in this case, a negative number. And that negative number we wanted to take the largest one so that our product is maximum. So let us write down our second case. So our second case is if number of negatives mod 2 is not equals to 0, which simply means it's an odd number, then there is one more sub case over here, which is if number of negative equals to 1 and num0 plus num negative equals to len of array. So what does this condition means? This condition simply means that within array all numbers are 0 except one negative number. In such case, the largest product which we will be able to obtain is 0, because of which we are going to return 0. Otherwise, if this is not the case, then we are going to apply this logic in order to get to our answer, which is return the product we have computed so far divided by the largest number we have obtained, so maximum. Let us try to understand this with the help of an example, and let us say the array which is given to us is something like this. Over here, if we see num negative equals to 1 and number of zeros equals to 3, and 1 plus 3 will be equals to 4 and num negative is equals to 1, because of which the largest product which is possible over here is a 0, because of which we are returning 0. Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to divide product by maximum number which we have computed. And let us say if these two cases, case 1 and case 2, are not satisfied, so then that simply means we will be in our third case, and in third case we just have to go ahead and return product. So that's the discussion of solution, folks. Now let us discuss the pseudocode of this problem. So let us say we want to find out max product and an array is given to us. So the first thing which we are going to do is we are going to take two counters, num0, initial value is 0. Similarly, num negative and initial value is 0. Similarly, in order to compute the maximum number, we are going to take a maximum with us, and initial value is some negative infinity, and we will also have a product, and the initial value of product is 1. Now we are going to iterate on the elements of array. So for element in array, we are going to check if, so this is our case 1, if element equals to 0. So in such case, all we have to do is we need to increase our num0 counter by 1, and then we need to move to the next element, so continue. Otherwise, if this is not the case, then we'll check for our second case, which is the negative case. If element is less than 0, then in such case, all we have to do is we need to increase our num negative counter by 1, and we will also find the largest negative number. So maximum will be equals to max of maximum comma element, and in this way we will be able to find the maximum largest number. And once we have done that, then we will have our product. So product will be equals to product into element. So far we have computed our product num negative, num 0 and maximum number. Now let us look for the cases. So if num 0 is equals to len of array, then this is the case where all the elements of the array is 0, because of which we are going to return 0. Otherwise, we are going to check if number of negative mod 2 is not equals to 0, which simply means it's an odd number. If this is an odd number, so let us check for one corner case within the odd number. So over here, if number of negative equals to 1 and num negative plus num 0 equals to len of array, then that simply means within this array there exists one negative element and rest of the elements are 0, because of which the maximum product which we'll be able to obtain is 0, and that is what we are returning over here. Otherwise, if this is not the case, then we are going to return product modulo divided by the maximum number which we have computed. Otherwise, if none of these cases are satisfied, which means the case which we have mentioned in line number 11 and the case which we have mentioned in line number 13, if these conditions are not satisfied, then the maximum product will be equals to product itself, and that is what we are going to return. So that's the discussion of pseudocode, folks. Now let us see how we have implemented in Python and C++. So first, let us look at the Python implementation. We have num0, num negative, prod, minimum, and modulo operation. Since the product can be very large, because of which we have to perform modulo operation. Now we are iterating on the elements of the array. If it is a 0 element, we are increasing our num0 counter by 1 and then we are moving to the next element. If it is a negative element, then we are increasing our counter of num negative by 1 and we are computing the minimum and then we are computing our product. If all the elements of the array are 0, then we are returning 0. Then we came to our second case, which is if the number of negatives is an odd number. If the number of negative is an odd number and there exists only one negative number and rest of the elements are 0, in such case the largest product which is possible is 0 and that is what we are returning over here. Otherwise, the largest negative number is product divided by minimum and then the modulo operation. And if these conditions are not satisfied, then in such case we are returning product modulo product. So that's the Python implementation, folks. Now let us submit our solution. So our Python solution got accepted. Now let us look at our C++ implementation. So we have a product modulo and a num0 and num negative and the minimum value. And then we are iterating on the elements of the array. If the element is 0, then we are increasing our num0 by 1. Otherwise, if the element is less than 0, then we are increasing our num negative counter by 1. We are computing the minimum and then we are performing the prod operation. Once we exit out of loop, we are checking if all elements of the array are 0. If all the elements of the array are 0, then in such case we are returning 0. If the number of negative elements in the array is an odd number and it is equals to 1 and num negative plus num0 equals to array of size, that simply means there exists only one negative element and rest of the elements are 0, because of which the maximum product would be 0 and that is what we are returning over here. Otherwise, we are returning the maximum product. So folks, over here what we are doing is when we are computing the product, we are computing product such that the product always remains positive. And then we will be able to perform the mod operation. If the product becomes negative and we are performing mod operation, then that will not give us the desired result, because of which we are ensuring that the product always remains positive. Similarly, since the product is always positive, over here when we are dividing it, we are ensuring that the minimum also we are making it positive and then we are dividing it. And in this way, we will be able to get to our answer. So that's the C++ implementation, folks. Now let us submit our solution. So our C++ implementation got accepted. That is all from this video, folks. In case if you have any question or comment regarding this video, please feel free to use the comment section and I'll try to address them. Thank you.